We here at the DUSD recently went to explore a world with folklore creatures. Werewolves, vampires, the works. We've actually explored this world before and these creatures aren't new to it. So I'm not sure why we're even investigating in the first place, but I've learned after last time not to question my superiors. The woman we investigated first was a lycanthrope, more commonly known as a werewolf, and she had the name Roxanne Galmer. You see, she was part of a band in her hometown that, let's just say, wasn't doing its best. They were barely managing to get invited to shows and weren't getting paid much to the ones they went to, not receiving the fame they all believed they deserved. However, when she was out one night clearing her head after a particularly poor show, she saw strange creatures lurking in the woods around her. A bear, a fox, a rabbit, and possibly even more she couldn't even see, staring at her with deep red eyes and rabid mouths. She later found out these were creatures carrying the were-creature curse, and she started to run as far as her legs could take her. Luckily, she managed to escape these infected beasts, but she had an idea. Imagine a singer able to transform into a wolf at will. Imagine the people coming from all around to witness the spectacle. Unfortunately, it would not turn out as she hoped. Over the next few shows she had, she would leave partway through at intermission and spend 10 or 15 minutes trying to find a wolf infected with the were-creature curse and get it to bite her. Eventually she did, but she didn't have the control she thought she would. I really wanted to do another spooky episode for this month, and what I wanted to do for it was folklore creatures. I've done one episode before of this-ish. I did Serena, World of Birds creatures as werewolves, which obviously this character is a werewolf, well, not werewolves back then, they did were-creatures. But obviously this character is a werewolf, but not all the characters in this episode are going to be werewolves. They're just folklore creatures, and I'll say the lore for this one ran a bit longer than I thought, so this is a finished drawing. I'm pretty happy with it, and to be honest, I ain't got much special to say. I think it's a good drawing, but I do think the next few are a bit better. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how this episode came out. The next creature we put research into is a djinn, or as some people call them, a genie. You see, these are mischievous creatures, usually bound to some kind of object, but not always, as is the case with this foul beast. You see, this creature that me and the rest of the DUSD decided to investigate is a rare case of a djinn not bound to a magical object, as it went around striking deals with all the creatures it could, cursed, struck deals with demons, were-creatures, and others of the sort. It even struck a deal with the previous case we discussed. However, this creature had a trick, a dastardly plot that it uses every time it tries to strike a deal. It will strike the deal, the one it proposes each time being the same, for this creature gives him a portion of their soul in return for immense power, and overall, he doesn't lie, but he twists his words. You see, he takes a portion of their soul, the entire portion, 100%, and the great power they gain is his, that they have no control. Essentially, to simplify it, he is stealing the powers of cursed creatures to join in himself. As said, he has already absorbed the power of our previous case, and we believe he has done so to even more we have not been able to research as of yet. I'll be completely honest, this is my favourite drawing of the episode, even if it doesn't make that much sense once you start thinking about it.
The idea to turn Ennard into a djinn doesn't really make sense, or genie, I guess they're more commonly called, as I said in the lore. But I knew I wanted to do a djinn or genie for this episode because I love doing characters in a state of transformation. Be it venomizing characters, which I definitely need to do more often on the channel, I ain't even got a full episode of it. Or having characters, parts of their body changing at a time. Like, having parts changing, not the full body. Like, when I did my Ben 10 horror story episode, I really like that. So, even though this isn't exactly what I mean by that, having the character shifting and melding into a gaseous form, I really like. As I said, it doesn't make sense for Ennard to be a djinn, but as I was looking through FNAF characters to turn into it, because I really wanted to do it for this episode, I came across this one, I looked up the lore, and I used the parts I already knew, and I came up with a pretty interesting story. So even if it don't make much sense, I'm pretty happy with this drawing, and I hope you are too.
This next creature we came across was quite vicious, and we actually had to research it for a much longer time than the previous two because of its unusual habits. Many people in this world know the tale of Frankenstein's monster. However, in this world, it is a real event, and many scientists have tried to recreate the experiment with varying success and failure. This next one being considered a success, I suppose, but it doesn't seem that way to us when we were researching it. You see, a budding scientist inspired by the works of Frankenstein, named Wilfred Afton, tried to recreate it, but not with the parts of multiple dead bodies. You see, he took half the parts from a gorgon, and the other from a vampire that had recently been hunted and killed in his hometown. And using the same science as Frankenstein, if not better, as this creature showed no evidence of being man-made, he created what many called the vampiric sun gorgon, though it goes by many names. His town was ravaged by experiences and stories of creatures lurking in the shadows. A vampire that would leap out at its prey, and a gorgon that would attack during the daytime. However, it's said that at dawn, you can see these two creatures in one body, horrifically split down the middle. As this creature walks towards you, you may already be dead, as the science behind its creation is quite masterful, if not terrifying. This was the first drawing I did for this episode, and I'm not even quite sure where the idea came from. The idea to do a Frankenstein Gorgon vampire was definitely weird, but I knew with the daycare attendant, I had to do different creatures, and the idea of making it a Frankenstein just fit even more with this folklore creatures concept. Even if I didn't work much Frankenstein elements into the design. I do like this design. I think it's a bit simple. Most of the detail comes from it just being split down the middle. I like the pose. I think the pose is very cool, and I like the creature's long arms. I don't even know why I gave it that, because it's meant to be like just a regular human. Well, not a human, a monster, but humanoid monster just stitched together. But I think it works. It's a very menacing pose, and overall it's just a good drawing. I ain't got much to say about it. It's kind of just a basic drawing, but I do like it. The environment was kind of basic and thrown together at the end, but I don't mind that, because the focus is on the creature, and I think the environment accents it well. I ain't got much to say, as you can probably tell, so let's have a look. The most famous creature in this world to be aquatic is, of course, the creature of the Black Lagoon. But what many don't know is members of its same species, or at least creatures related to it, have appeared in other parts of the world. One that's possibly even more dangerous than that creature is often called the Lagoon Toad. You see, this creature constantly has a smile across their face, grinning as their mouth peels back, and a tentacle on top of their head. The rest of their body doesn't seem that suited for underwater travel. However, they have taken down many a ship of inexperienced crew members,
They have a long prehensile frog tail coming from their sharp-toothed mouth, and even a tail that appears like that of a frog's tongue, to drag in any unfortunate passers-by from up to 20 meters away. This creature is the last one we researched in this world, but I have no doubts we'll be back, considering the grim beasts to be found here. This was definitely meant to be my favourite of the episode, but I don't think it turned out that way. I went into this drawing wanting to make it the best of the episode, but as I said, I don't think it turned out that way. But I do think it's very cool, and it's probably right behind my Enard Jin. The idea to use Happy Frog for this episode came about quite unusually. You see, I really needed ideas for other folklore creatures to do. I was planning on just doing another were creature, and in fact I did this before I did the Roxanne Wolf werewolf. But, you know, I thought that I really wanted to do a different one, and as I was thinking I came across the creature of the Black Lagoon. So my idea was to either do this or a Monty Gator one. And I don't know why, but the idea of doing this one just hit me better. And also, Monty Gator has had a lot more renditions, and the glam rock designers didn't think would fit as well as a creature. And I really liked the proportions of this one. Happy Frog's not a very tall character, and most of the others in this episode have been kind of lanky and tall. So I really wanted to vary up. I love the frog tail tongue thing. And I think that's a really cool detail too. I don't even really know where it came from. The mouth peeling back was definitely inspired by my Enard Jin. The background for this one is easily the most in-depth I've done for this episode, and I do like it a fair bit. But, you know, all these kind of backgrounds have been similar, so I might have to work on varying my backgrounds a bit. This is one of the only drawings I've done where I've got a creature coming out of the water, half in water, half not. I've done drawings of creatures in water before, but I've never half and half like this, and I do think the water ends up looking a bit complicated, but overall I'm pretty happy with how it came out.